Alright, so now that our UI is done, we want to get into creating the logic and the PHP and the code to connect to our database. Alright, so in this chapter we're going to start off with creating our database file, which will hold our connection parameters and will connect through the MySQLi API. Alright, so there's a bunch of different ways you can interact with your database. The original API was the MySQL API, which is now deprecated and not really safe. So you want to use MySQLi or something like PDO for interacting with your database. And what we're going to do, I'm not going to say is best practice, but I just want to just make it understandable for the people that are kind of just starting out with this stuff. So let's do that. We want to open up database.php. You know what, let me associate these files with Notepad. Alright, so PHP, we want to open our tags. Whoop, I don't know where that came from. Alright, now for the most part I don't add a closing tag when I'm done. You don't have to. It's in some cases it's recommended that you don't, just to keep from messing with other files. I'm not sure the exact reason, but I very rarely close it if it's the end of the file. Obviously if we're still putting HTML, we'll close it, but most of the time I won't if it's the end of the file. So the first thing we're going to do here is create connection credentials. Okay, so we're going to say db host. Now I'm kind of assuming that most of you know at least the basics of PHP, how to assign a variable, how to call a function, things like that, but I will try to explain as I go. Alright, so I'm going to create a couple variables here to hold the database user, the host, the password, things like that. In PHP, your variables need to start with a $sign. This double slash here, this is a comment. Alright, so I realize that a lot of you probably already know that, but some people may not. Alright, so the host is going to be called localhost, and this is true 99% of the time when working on a server, even XAMPP or WAMP or something like that. Alright, so the next one is going to be the database name. Now if you remember in the first, I believe it was the first video, oh, these have to end with semicolons as well. I created a database called Quizzer, so that's what I'm going to use here. Okay, next is the user, and the user is root, and then we have the password, and this is where you're going to put your password. I just have something really simple. I think that was it. Alright, so that's our parameters or our variables. Next we want to create the MySQLi object. Okay, so we're going to use, when dealing with MySQLi, you can use the procedural way or the object-oriented way. Alright, for instance, if you're using procedural, you would assign your variable to whatever, MySQLi, and to call a function, let's say the connect error function, it would be underscore something like that, MySQLi underscore error. When using the object-oriented version, you use your object variable, and then like this, you need the arrow to call error. And this is the version we're going to use. We're not going to be using a lot of object-oriented styles in this particular application, but we will later on down the line. We'll actually create classes and things like that. Alright, so we want to create this object, MySQLi. is going to be equal to new MySQLi, and then we simply want to pass in our credentials. So db host, and then we want db user and db pass and db name, and this should all go in this order. Alright, and then basically I'm just going to create a simple error handler. So we'll say if MySQLi connect error, then we want to print out printf connect failed, and then we're going to use these placeholders, this %s. Alright, and then I'm going to do this /n for a new line. And then let's see, the next one we'll say MySQLi connect error, and then we just want to exit. So basically, if it doesn't connect, it's going to spit out this error, which will have the actual error code right here. So that's going to be our entire database file. So we just want to make sure we save that. And we're going to have to include this on every page that we want to use the database. Alright, so an include is really easy. Let's just go to our index. Okay, so before any of the HTML output, I'm going to say PHP include database.php, and that should include the file. Okay, so let's save that and go to the index page. Okay, so we have no errors, so that means that it connected. Now if we go back into database and let's just change this database name to, we'll just add in a letter, so this database is not valid, it's not there, so we should get an error. So let's save this and reload, and now we get this unknown database message. Okay, so this output here is coming from this right here, this object or this property connect error. Alright, so we can see that we are connected. Let's just change this back to what it should be. So we're connected to the database, and we're now ready to start running queries.